Which job is a lot less fun than most people expect? Let's have a look. Socially awkward extrovert says preschool teacher, especially with new COVID-19 regulations. I can only imagine. Ever try social distancing 3-year-olds? You're a better person than me. Oh my gosh, Build-A-Bear, weirdest and most frustrating thing. Granted, I didn't make it super long time in the job, and seeing kids so happy is great, but they are really strict and the bad times get pretty bad. Yeah, that's not good. I'm a forensic scientist, and it's literally the only thing people ask me about on dating apps. It's very technical work and it's extremely routine. Sounds a bit different. Barnes and Noble, your job has literally nothing to do with books, and it obviously attracts a lot of that type, myself included. There we go. Professional photographer, not like hobbyist, but business owning photographer. Sucks the love right out of your work because you started the business to take pictures. Then Karen doesn't like the way she looks in one of them, so she wants the whole set for free, plus a reshoot for free, plus those images for free. Then the two high school kids getting into a very ill-advised marriage at exactly 18 years old wants to book you for their wedding, but their budget is only $50. Yep. Then Karen calls back because she loves your work and wants to pay for another shoot, but only if you agree to do her friend's daughter's destination wedding for free. Then you get a call from your last bride. It's been 2 weeks since their wedding. Where are her pictures? Then you get no leads from a bridal expo. Then a client finds out you don't support their candidate and tries to take you to court to get her money back. Then some Instabot who thinks she's influencing people offers a collab where you take pro photos of her and she adds Insta filters to it and claims her friend took them and she's not gonna pay. And then you get some entitled mum who wants you to photograph every day of her newborn's first year of life for $100. I went back to being a hobbyist. Yeah, wow, that doesn't sound fun at all. Park ranger. Don't get me wrong, I loved it, but a lot of days it was less talk about cool animals while wearing your ranger hat and more the toilets are overflowing again, go clean the septic tank filter and stir the tank with a shovel. Oh god. With a little bit of, hey, there's a method out guy down by the bridge. Can you convince him to leave without killing anyone? All for the low price of $26k a year with a college degree. Not good. Edit so more people will see this. I hate the idea that this comment might dissuade anybody from becoming a park ranger. These jobs are so varied and I just happen to work for an underfunded agency with too few staff. Honestly, I still love this job and would have kept doing it forever if a higher paying outdoor environmental job hadn't pretty much fallen into my lap. Being a park ranger taught me so much, and most importantly, I got trained as a wildland firefighter, which is still my favourite part of the job. If you've always dreamed of being a park ranger, please go for it. I do closed captioning. While I joke that yes, I get paid to watch TV, it's actually very tedious, and if you don't actually enjoy the programming, you're being forced to watch something you don't care for. Or worse, if it's something I do enjoy, like a long form drama, we usually chop those into 15-minute increments and split between everyone, so I only see chunks and not always even in order. It actually ruins the show for me. Edit. Wow, for a thread about my job not being fun, did not expect a response for interested parties. To summarise the questions, anyone who knows a proper grammar and spelling can pretty much work the technical side of closed captioning. For live writing, you have to be a stenographer, which you need to train for with an associate's degree. If you're looking to do side transcription work, I'd recommend ordering a foot pedal online and looking into freelance sites such as Rev and Upwork. Really interesting. Working in a flower shop is just like any other retail job, but people constantly tell you how fun your job must be. Also, helping grieving families choose funeral flowers is not fun. Wow. I'm a marine biologist. I spent the last week measuring defrosted fish heads. Wow, okay. Well, I'm a scientist. I don't know if people usually think of that career as fun, but I think people think it's a lot more eureka and a lot less. This data has to be manually processed for 600 hours before I can analyze it. Whoa, good. Not a specific job, but traveling for work. I'm in tech and a lot of people starting out talk about wanting to go to customer sites and get out in the field. I love to travel for fun, but it's hard to fit in the fun stuff when you have presentations and stuff to worry about, and a lot of times your customers aren't in the fun cities anyway. I also think I prefer the stability and day-to-day schedule of traveling less frequently. Zach the Wolf. A pediatric nurse. Being a nurse for children and adolescents. Everyone in nursing school talks about how much they want to work with kids. The reality is that a pediatric nurse sees more cases of abuse and neglect than any other specialty. That's horrible, so tough. It doesn't matter where you are in pediatric hospital, it's the thing you see most. I've seen so many DCS, Department of Child Services caseworkers, that I've gotten to know some of them and become acquaintances with them. Sure, working with children and adolescents is great, but people don't think about the most essential piece of that puzzle, which is their families. It doesn't matter how good of care you give to those kids, if you don't loop the parents into that care, you may as well just not be doing anything for them. Crikey. Crazy, crazy world. Video editor. The more I do it, the more I can't be asked. Although not necessarily bad, beekeeping. Get used to the constant sound of buzzing during hive inspections, swarm removals, plus wearing a protective suit in hot ass weather for hours on end, give or take the situation. Also, there appears to be a large number of beekeepers allergic to bees, so EpiPens are a must. What? That's crazy. I always say the more fun it is to go somewhere, the worse it is to work there, like amusement parks and arcades. As a good approach. A baker. Coming into work at 3 or 4 AM so you can have a 6 AM baked goods is miserable. Demolition. Everyone wants to break with a sledgehammer. Everyone is tired of lifting that sledgehammer by 5 swings. Very true. Nobody wants to load the broken stuff into bags or a wheelbarrow and take it to the dumpster. Good point. Video game testing. Oh, interesting. I've been working in the game industry for 6 years now and teaching for 2. Testing video games is thought to be just, oh, you just play games all day, laugh out loud. But it's actually very specific and arduous. First of all, there are a bunch of testing methodologies such as load/soak testing, white room testing, version testing, to name a few, but the most common one is functionality testing. Functionality testing is, so if I walk into that corner with the shotgun in my inventory, I can clip through the wall, but if I have my M16 in my inventory, I don't clip through. Okay, interesting. Paleontologist. You don't get to work with full dinosaur skeletons and do all kinds of awesome expeditions. You're mostly sitting at a desk looking at some pictures and logging stuff on your computer, maybe examining a fossil occasionally. If you're lucky, you can go on a real dig and, oh my god, spend hours in the hot sun dusting off rocks. That's funny. I want to hear more about Chumbawamba. Don't know what that is. Acting. All the ones we see on TV and movies are the 0.0001% of incredibly lucky and talented people who manage to thrive in a hostile and overcrowded industry. And even when you are working, the actual job itself is 99% sitting on apple crates and hot makeup, waiting for some grips to move a lighting fixture. Then you say 3 lines over and over again for an hour, and then you wrap. That sounds tough. Flight attendant. You are on call, on reserve forever, have a terrible schedule, have no life and make no money for 5 to 10 years. While you work for peanuts, you can't afford to use your flight benefits in any substantial way. It's tough. Then, when you finally get a chance to use your benefits for a trip, you have to fly standby, which means you aren't guaranteed to get on the flight you want. Then, if you do make it out of town, you better have like a week off, so you can make damn sure you're back in your base city in time for your next work shift. Crikey. Did I mention there is an act of US legislation, Railway Labour Act, that allows airlines to exploit so you don't get paid for certain work hours that you actually need to be working. For example, FAs don't get paid for boarding or any time the plane is at the gate. Worst job ever. Wow. Type clarity, cool. Stinky pickle. Accountant. Everyone thinks it's all fun and number crunching, but the constant stream of women throwing their panties and wanting to bear your children is honestly exhausting. Oh, that's good. Working in a music store, musical instruments. Your days are spent listening to 50 different people play 50 different riffs poorly simultaneously, as if they're all putting on their own concert. I can only imagine. Being a character performer at Disney. Don't get me wrong, there are some amazing perks and truly magical moments. I know I'm super lucky and tons of people would love to be in my shoes. But the day-to-day work is exhausting in ways I never thought possible. Guests are ridiculously abusive. I've had things said and done to me I never would have imagined. The company isn't always great, it highly depends on your leadership, and there's so much focus on your body and face, good and bad, that it can be incredibly depressing and difficult emotionally. That's crazy. Plus, you have to accept that there's very little upward mobility. Most people grow out of it, and it's rough to know that one day you'll get too old or too fat and you'll have to start all over in a new career field. So you are constantly either thinking one, what you're going to do when you leave, two, how you're going to keep yourself there. I personally knew it would be temporary, and I now only work there seasonally while I have a normal career, but Disney has a way of sucking you in. Edit, hey, my first word, thank you so much. Being a writer. I always thought it was my absolute dream job, but the only job I could get after college was working in a content mill as a blog writer. I used to work 70-hour weeks staring at the computer in a basement of an old bank, writing articles about the dangers of mold, fence cleaning, and why you need a commercial awning, and the dream turned into a nightmare, I can only imagine. While I still write occasionally, I am now working as a communications person, so it is a bit less heavy. Fair enough. Trimming weed. I don't know why people think working with weed is like working in the Willy Wonka factory. It's not. You literally get to make tiny cuts with sticky scissors for 8 hours. I have seen this question before, and then it was a zookeeper at the top comment too. Nice. Anyways, there's this making of Frozen 2 mini documentary. Most animators work weeks for a minute of animation of one character, if not less. Crazy. At one point they decided to leave out a piece that one person has solely been working on. Must be crappy to be a part of the credits without being able to say, this is my part. Yeah, that's rough. What can you do? Flight attendant, I did it for a year. Think you're going to have a week-long layover in Paris? Guess again. You're working the red-eye to Detroit? Don't get too excited yet. You're laying over in Cleveland tomorrow. Couple that with a job being boring as F. You just sit around for hours at a time on the flights, and it certainly is much less exciting than you would think it would be. Working at a Charles Dickens fair is interesting, but not incredibly fun. It is hard to stay in character, and people get so mad when they see the Alice in Wonderland area. Yeah, we know it's not Charles Dickens, but we can't have a kids' play area in the world of Oliver Twist, okay? Seeing all this makes me feel like I don't want to have a job, but instead live off fish, as in catching and eating. It's my favourite thing to do, not the job of a fisherman. It's a good point. Archaeologist. Did it during my 20s, and that was more than enough. Long, hot days, living out of cheap motels on pay, and you typically find nothing more than some pieces of glass and broken pottery. Every once in a blue moon, you find something cool, but those items generally end up being stored away in a box full of other artifacts never to be seen again. That's crazy. A lawyer. No, it isn't like they show on TV. Hey, finally case is before the judge. Crap, the other party didn't show up. Next date that judge has given is 3 months away. Crazy. Edit needs to say a few things. One, thank you fellow Redditors for the gold and silver. Now I can finally see what Lounge is about. Now, a little bit about me. I am from India and have moved on from litigation to academia. Personally, it was the right decision for me, as now I am way less stressed and can work on things that intellectually stimulate me. Having said that, I need to clarify that law is still a very rewarding profession. There is something in it for everyone, for those who want to change the world as well as for those who want to make money. It just demands too much of your time, plus the results of all your efforts are not immediate, and that can get stressful. Also, yes, that song Don't Be a Lawyer by Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is pretty spot on. Love it. Being a chef. All the flair and awesomeness they show on Vice and Netflix is far from what actually happens in the industry. It's not all fancy plates and tattooed / cool head guys doing their thing. It's a drug-infested, law-breaking work environment that only benefits the owners of a restaurant. Edit, thank you for the love and good reads, people. I have some insane stories I'll share someday. For those asking, I'm a sous chef at a Michelin level restaurant nowadays, not a chef de cuisine yet. Edit 2, you guys are insane. I once had a server approach my table and ask where I work because he noticed the scars on my arm. Strong. Librarian. It's not all books and being quiet. There are also spreadsheets. Oh no. Cyber security. Bro, the movies do us no justice. Hacking is not as fast, nor is it as easy as the media makes it. It's a great field, but you spend a lot of time researching or watching paint dry, especially in the government side. Edit. I'll never be able to answer all of your questions. I'll answer some PMs if I get a chance. No more questions. Bar bouncer. Hours of tension and boredom interrupted by moments of adrenaline fueled fear for your life. Then some arsehole pukes cheap booze on your shoes. Edit. I was 19 when I started, and I thought I would be getting paid to meet lots of girls and listen to live music, which I did. I also had knives pulled on me, endured threats for my life, got my nose broken, not even in a fight, and stood around and did nothing most of the time. You don't get to relax though, because you're constantly looking for trouble. Awful job. I write adult fan fiction as a side hustle. After a certain point, it's just like writing a paper, except you have to keep thinking of different synonyms for a penis. That's funny. Zookeeper. Don't get me wrong, it's awesome to be around so many amazing animals and care for them, but the smells are ridiculously, insanely foul, I can only imagine. I have a really strong stomach and it's still tough for me. We've had some interns quit over it. I was warned about the smells when getting into the field, but thought, oh, I volunteered at animal shelters. I know what animal stink smells like. Nope, not even close. Toys R Us. Not around anymore, but I'm sure this applies to other toy stores. Though few that they are. It is still retail, and in this case it involves people's kids, so of course the parents are twice as entitled to have to deal with. Edit. Thank you for the energy. I look forward to growing I'm not even going to read that. Don't even know what that says. Edit. I rescind my earlier assumption that Toys R Us was closed. That is what I get for listening to rumours. It was shut down where I was from originally. I now see that it still exists in most of the US, Canada and certain parts of Asia. Merry Christmas / Black Friday to you all. Video game tester. You aren't spending your time playing completed fully realized games. You're playing the same level of a game over and over, seeing if there are bugs. Managing a dog hotel. This is interesting. Breaking up dog fights. Dogs shitting in the lobby and the occasional awful owners. Thanks for all the upvotes. Sad most popular comment about my job. Laugh out loud. After reading through this thread for 20 minutes, I've concluded that every job sucks. Pilot. You could lose your career with a single illness or injury, which could be happening to me soon. Whoa. Working at an amusement park. Yes, I can only agree. Accounting isn't the adrenaline rush that most people think it is. Teacher. Children are psychic vampires. Strong. Like it. I hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate you a lot.